Let me go over the basics and explain to you why I believe that my value system, my belief system, my pseudo religion is very helpful and effective, and it's especially helpful for those of you who are susceptible to a deep sense of dissatisfaction, susceptible to a sense of internal instability. The basics, the first step is acknowledging that life is tragic first, beautiful second. Again, acknowledging that life is tragic first, beautiful second. What does this do? Acknowledging the tragedy, intrinsic tragedy of life is not for the sake of denying yourself of any kind of pleasure. It's not for the sake of excusing yourself of any kind of effort. Acknowledging the tragedy of existence is to adjust your perspective, your cognitive starting position, so to speak. Many people's starting position, mentally speaking, is they believe that all of modernity just kind of spontaneously materialized. All of our luxuries, everything that we know to be beneficial to us and accessible to us, it's just been here. Acknowledging the tragedy is acknowledging history, acknowledging that billions of human beings before us suffered, billions of human beings before us lived just nightmarish, horrible lives. You can point to certain exceptions here, in different areas of the world, but for the most part, war, sickness, disease, famine, malnourishment, just all kinds of oppressions and nightmares and hardships were people's norms throughout history, all over the world. And so to acknowledge that would then to what would that then do to fully appreciate that? That make you feel more grateful. That make you feel more appreciative. I can't stress enough. The point of gratefulness and appreciation is not to extinguish any kind of fire within you to make the world a better place. It's not to extinguish any kind of fire within you to not address the maladies and the negativities of the world and of other people. It is merely, again, to in the midst of all of this, all of these maladies and toxicities that exist, to also carry with you a certain degree of perspective and appreciation. And it's all based in reasonability and sensibility, because the actuality, again, of existence for the longest period of time, even now, for many, many people across this world, no matter how bad you think you have it, life has been a nightmare, and life right now is a nightmare for people. And I'm talking about the individuals digging by hand minerals for your damn phone. There's suicide nets outside of institutions, outside of facilities, so people can't jump out while they're building the items for you to benefit. And that being said, tragic first, and then the beauty is understanding that we only have so much bandwidth, understanding that we can't all, one person can't save an entire people. The beauty of life is to then pursue the greatness, if you have the opportunity to do so, to pursue the greatness that is available to you, the kind of stability and beauty and richness that's available to you. However, this is where I diverge from the average person's perspective. A lot of people's sense of beauty, the beauty in life, is very surface level, it's very shallow. What does that mean? It is appearance based. It is seeking the beauty based off of what everybody told you is beautiful. It is seeking the beauty off of a particular kind of position. In that position, you highly regard it because you see that the world highly regards it, as opposed to it being something that is authentically, genuinely attractive to you. You look at somebody and think highly of them because the world told you that you're supposed to think highly of this person with this profession, with this status, from this school, from this environment, with this kind of family, with this. Everybody's just told you what's beautiful. And oftentimes, due to our constant exposure to information, we don't have a single damn original, authentic thought. And so my issue with that portion of life is beautiful second is, to me, the beauty can only be fully appreciated in the context of like, especially in the American context, where many of us live in luxury, relative luxury to the rest of the world, especially. The beauty is in silence. The beauty is in stillness. The beauty is in resting. The beauty is in when you and a friend have the opportunity to have a discussion. You speak to that which is meaningful to you, that which matters to you, that which is on your heart, and there's a reciprocation. It's not merely, I just see so many young people talking about this main character stuff, and it sickens me, because I don't even think we should even begin that first step of even messing around about notions of quote unquote main characters and main character syndrome, because to me, that is an extension of our this concept of Somebody's only important when quote unquote big things are happening. Somebody's only important when something special is happening. I appreciate the people that I relate to the most, or I'm gonna be quite frank with you, the people that I see on the street that are homeless. Why? Because all of my life I have just been so lucky as to have certain guardrails that had prevented me from being a homeless person. Why would I be a homeless person? Because I have significant instability within me that is constantly begging to come out. However, due to this thing that I'm speaking to you right now in regards to the basics, due to the lifestyle practices, so let's go past the beauty and go to the four pillars of stability: sleep, nourishment, physical activity, healthy conversations. My argument is if you don't have sleep, you're done. I don't care if you have nourishment, physical activity, and healthy conversations. I don't care if you don't think that sleep should matter that much. I don't care what your perception is of something like sleep. If you don't have it if it's not there in a substantive way, in a consistent way, you will feel discombobulated. And what happens when you feel discombobulated as a result of being deficient in sleep? You're going to then assume it's this, it's that. This is the problem. That is the problem. You're going to then blindly and aimlessly make all kinds of presumptions as to why you feel discombobulated as opposed to you are deficient in sleep. And it's the same with each of those. Let's say you do have sleep but you don't have the nourishment, you don't have diet. If you're not getting nutrients in your body, I'm not talking about purely macronutrients. I'm talking about the micronutrients that come from eggs, the micronutrients that come from your kales, your broccoli, your collard greens, your chard. I'm talking about getting those healthy fats in from your olive oils and from a good butter from grass-fed cows. These nutrients are not to be underestimated. And yet a lot of people just do whatever and eat whatever in regards to their dietary practices, and they wonder what's wrong with me. And also elimination of the excess amounts of sugar that we consume. That has a crazy effect. If you are doing everything right, but you're eating incorrectly or not eating in a way that is not compatible with your system, and even something like going gluten-free, which seems to be this fad that it's not actual, it's not real, that would benefit you significantly. And to underestimate that indicates your lack of appreciation for the physics of your humanity. And then let's go to the physical aspects. You don't necessarily have to work out every day, all day, but you need to engage in something. And if you're not, you cannot complain about your sense of dissatisfaction. You cannot complain about your sense of cognitive impairment, because your body needs to, at times, be exerted. And let's go to healthy conversations. Most unfortunately, and this is something I can't blame people too much for, but at the same time, I do have to hold you accountable. No one in my life necessarily was just eager to have deep conversations, necessarily. However, I would consistently tap into quote unquote deep conversations. And what's a deep conversation? What's a healthy conversation? A conversation where we're talking about matters of our heart, matters of what matters to us right now. We're talking about existence itself. We're talking about how hard life is, but we're going deeper. Y'all talk about how hard life is in the framework of man's game, in the framework of just jobs, in the framework of just like topical issues. No, you could talk about the framework of existence itself. Forget music, forget celebrities, forget pop culture for a second. Forget you being a man, forget you being a woman, forget you being black or white. Just existing. Just the absurd. Let's talk about the absurdity of existence, and let's talk about the fact that we're all going to die. If we're all going to die, and life is indeed transient, and if life is indeed tragic first, and we can then therefore have this arbitrary death. So how should we interact with each other? My argument is we should make every effort to have authentic, transparent, vulnerable conversation, non-judgmental conversation. The problem is I see how people interact. It's way too manic, and I'm susceptible to a kind of manic approach into conversations. It's way too self-absorbed to where there's no real actual reciprocation going on. It's not vulnerable enough to where you're admitting how much of a fool you are, and then it's not solution based enough to where you're then talking about with this conversational partner how about all the things that you're going to do to be better, to work on yourself. And then it should be all of that. combined, and it can be. However, I will give you this: a lot of times you could try your best to have that kind of interaction with the person, and they simply just are not rising to the occasion to reciprocate. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Nonetheless, sleep, nourishment, physical activity, and healthy conversations. These are some of the basics that I believe that I adhere to a religious extent. Do I fail all the time? You better believe I fail all the time. You better believe I fail all the time. However, the beauty is that I have to admit to myself, am I doing everything right? Am I getting my sleep, my nourishment, my physical activity? And when I'm not, then therefore, with the beauty of that is I can't have misappropriated anger or aggravation, not a righteous kind, to where I'm really like, it's this fault, it's your fault, it's everyone's fault. No, it's me. It's me. It starts with me. No matter how much everybody else is inflammatory and is a negative supplement unto your botheredness and unto your discombobulation, it ultimately starts with us. But that's kind of comforting for me, because I'm like, it starts with me. I'm the problem. It's up to me. I have the ability, I have the opportunity, and whether I succeed or not it's up to me. And it just doesn't take away any of the accountability from everyone else, but it's a priority thing. And it's like, first, the emphasis and the priority should be upon your efforts, to be upon you becoming less superficial, becoming so appearance based, so status focused, so status obsessed, so worldly. Become less worldly externally and more worldly internally. And what it should be doing is it should be expressing itself thusly. I digress.